Welcome, RGB Limit Break fans, to Game 3 of the Final Fantasy Randomizer and LADX Co-op Tournament. My name is Thavian Hawk. With me in the booth today is ABC. ABC, what are we looking at with this Game 3 between two Drawn Swords and RacesWild?
It's winner take all. So both sides have got one win. The LADX side has got a 6 instrument seed. Any 6 gets you into the egg.
Well, the fun thing to start out here, we at least get to see the party differences. It looks like Shrin is checking something, changing something. He has a lovely background there, but Odoron, for two swords drawn, he has a Thief Fighter, Black Mage, Red Mage. The randomizer for Final Fantasy has it locked party members for the first and fourth slot, so that Thief and Red Mage were mandatory. With those characters, we actually have Blursin's modifiers to the character classes from the normal game, with the Thief having access to shields and extra 25 agility, but it's kind of thin as negative 30 hit points to start with, so it's basically 1 health at the start. The Fighter, plus 40 hit points, plus 10 luck. And I'll be honest, I forgot to grab the malice for that one. I will get that in a minute. The Red Mage, plus 15 luck, resist lightning, death, and time, but no bracelets, so the best armor it can equip is not available. The Black Mage, for, looks like Odoron going Black Mage, Ashton going double red. The Black Mage has plus 20 MDef, plus 20 Vitality, but no Temper, which means it will be resilient, it will be high health, but it won't be able to provide Temper to buff the strength of the melee characters. It will definitely be interesting to see the difference with the Red Mage being able to get Temper versus the Black Mage who can access more black magic outright. That said, Temper might run outside of the range of the Red Mage, so it might not even have access to it. We were just a little late getting started due to some technical difficulties. We should be ready to roll any minute now. The gate was dropped about 10 minutes ago on or ahead of the stream going live.
So it looks like both teams have their parties all set up. We are just waiting for the start of the run.
Now, for anyone who missed the last 2 races, the interesting side on the Final Fantasy, as I could say, is a shard hunt, 32 shards required, as well as a short topher, and everything is essentially loose, so they could find any item anywhere, incentive or otherwise. Which is extra fun with Archipelago, because any item could include items from Zelda and vice versa.
Now, I didn't check the notes on this one, but I believe that all dungeon items were randomized for the Zelda side. Is this correct?
I believe so. As far as the Zelda racers, their incentive goal, I believe, was 6 instruments.
Yes, they have to clear 6 out of 8 dungeons and collect the instrument at the end.
And we are off. As Link is restless in bed, we are first look at White Magic and Mute Cure, nothing too special. Black Magic, oh, there's Temper. It is Red Mage learnable. That is huge to see. And Bane as a sweeper, not horrible, but not immediate damage.
The item, sorry, the item from Terran was the sword, which gives them access to a large portion of the map, and they immediately got a shard for the FF players.
That is a huge value for the Zelda players, and that is our shop item in the starting town Canaria. It's fairly cheap, 900 some odd gold, so that could be an item for either racer in the team. Looks like the Zelda racers have decided that theft is important, is the fastest way to go.
They've actually taken different paths. TK Ninja has jumped in the well and is now down on the beach, and 3 and 3 went to the shop.
Yeah, we see our first check on Toph, the top left and bottom left chests that are unlocked. We saw a heart piece, it looked like, and some gold. And then on that bottom chest, yet more gold. On the main stream, you'll see that it just says AP item when someone picks something up, or FFR item in the Zelda side. But we do, above the bottom racers on either side, have the live feed from Archipelago, so it'll indicate what each racer gets for their teammate, if you can make out the tiny text.
Both Zelda players are off to the forest. A few checks here that they can do because they have the sword.
Meanwhile, we get our first kill on Garland with Bane, and we get 2 items, one each from the king and the princess.
It looked like that was a key cavern key, or it might have been the key to the key cavern. I missed the pop-up.
We got 2 small keys, Key Cavern and Color Dungeon.
And TK has received the power bracelet.
TK is now strong.
TK can now actually access an additional check that 3 and 3 was unable to.
And first incentive item picked up for either side for the Final Fantasy, we get the cube from TK Ninja for his teammate. That is half of access to Sky Tower. Now, as this is a shard hunt, we do not need to kill the fiends, but each fiend, the Earth Fiend, the Fire Fiend, they are worth 2 shards. The Sky Fiend and the Water Fiend are worth 4 shards each. So killing the fiends can be valid for getting those shards that are needed. Oops, some arrows picked up out of Matoya's closet, as well as a house. And the boat has been acquired by TK Ninja for his teammate. That is huge. That provides substantially faster access to other towns in the inner sea. And with the canal open from the get-go, a free item on the map, that means access to the outer sea as well.
Another key cavern key for 3 and 3. And 3 and 3 is playing trendy game right now to just get some money, presumably to get the powder as well as the item that is the center item in trendy game. And 3 and 3 has received their power bracelet.
As Odoron, our first racer, out to Provoca, finding life, fade, and harm 4. Excellent white magic. And with that fade, it is essentially nuke, but for white mages, and can be done by a red mage normally, so that is a huge sweeper as far as damage to be done. The black magic, meanwhile, was Dark Rub, Sleep 2, and Zap. Zap is usable, but not super relevant. They've already got Bane, and I do believe they have a caster item, which we have not seen. Fade coming out here against Bicky and his pirates, gonna one-shot everything. It's kind of fun with the randomizer. They have access to big sweeper spells often. When these pirates were meant to be punched one by one, they are extremely paper thin.
3 and 3 found some gold for their Final Fantasy player, and TK found a piece of heart.
And trading that heart piece to get a heal potion for his teammate over for TK and Odoron. Very valuable. Ashrin following up Odoron's move to Provoca, that quick check and fight on for magic and item from Bicky. Odoron, meanwhile, going to Elfland, finding Ice 2, Confuse, Stop. Yeah, nothing too special in level 3 black.
The 2 LADX players have diverged in their paths. It looks like 3 and 3 might be going for Color Dungeon, currently under the graveyard. And meanwhile, TK looks like they're going for the Pothole Field.
Okay, looking at level 4 magic, Ice 3 and Lit 3, excellent damage sweepers, learnable by both both of the casters available. Uh, Given the amount of money they had coming in here, almost 10,000 gold, that is excellent money for early magic.
TK has found the Nightmare Key, or the boss key for Dungeon 8, as well as a level 2 sword. So, given that the goal for them is to find 6 instruments, finding those boss keys is going to be very important. They likely won't enter any dungeons until they have enough items to complete them, since they need both small and nightmare keys. Meanwhile, 3 and 3 is currently in Color Dungeon, a dungeon that does not actually contain a instrument.
But it no doubt contains checks and items.
It has 5 checks that he can do right now.
As far as early checks for items, both racers making their way to differing locations. Ooh, spiders with blaze. What is the Danny seed? Hate, what have you done? That is a fun thing with the randomizer. Each of these creatures that they face can have completely random spell sets. It's brutal often. Looks like Eshrin taking advantage of the Northwest Dock flag, which has been enabled, which actually puts a dock on Bahamut's Island in Cardia Isles. On top of that, the Bahamut's Hoard, where a chest linked to every Cardia Isle chest is now sitting right here next to Bahamut. Gonna get a lot of items for himself and his teammate. So far, a lot of gold, the Bane Sword, a face key.
The face key will give access to Dungeon 6, provided other items are acquired between now and heading over in that direction. Meanwhile, TK is cutting down grass. It looks in order to play trendy game.
Meanwhile, it looks
10
like
rupees are needed.
Hopefully that will be a quick collect over, but looks like Eshrin has a light sword and a invis sword. Very valuable items there. A sweeper, although the magic is available. And ooh, ding ding ding, that is a bell. That is actually the other side of the combo for that cube. That accesses the Mirage Tower. There's also
3 and 3 is... Sorry, go for it.
It's 10 more chests, or several more chests available to check.
Both the Link's Awakening players are doing minigames in Maid Village right now. 3 and 3 is fishing, and TK is playing trendy game. Check each on both.
Meanwhile, Odoron yet again finding those spiders that do the cremation and the killing of the party. As Eshrin is in Elfland, finally picking up the magic, the known good magic, especially the level 4 magic he will happily see.
TK has been gifted the Pegasus boots by their partner, and that means that they can run.
AKA more speed, more better in a race. Oh fun, the bones in Marsh Cave have poison as well. One thing to note with the Final Fantasy racers, they are running the save on death flag, which means if they die while they're diving one of these dungeons, they are brought back and revived where they had last saved with all of the items and experience that they had when they died. So if they're in a deep dive and they have few parties left, it might just be simpler for them to die and be brought back where they last saved than have to run all the way back out of the dungeon. The downside to that is if you used up all of your potions and supplies and you die and you have to re-die, you might have to run back and get more potions.
It looks like 3 and 3 just found the cube for their partner.
That could be very big. That accesses a very large number of high-level monster encounters that can get some experience on the party. It accesses many chests. Sky is one of the fastest dungeons to run through and has a very large number of unique chest checks. The problem there, though, is they still do not have the floater, which is required to get onto the continent that has the Mirage Tower in it, as well as Gaia and Lefane.
TK has decided to fish up additional fish beyond the necessary one. Not quite sure why. But he is now leaving Mabe Village, likely back off to the forest.
And Pegasus boots provided for Asher in 2, 3, and 3. So that is Pegasus boots across the board.
And 3 and 3 also seems to have picked up the shovel, which unlocks 4 or 5 checks for him.
Is Link gonna sing the Diggy Diggy Hole song?
I think Link needs Marin following him around for that.
Well, Eshrin, having gone down to Cardi Isles already, has that check and those items pulled, is now going into Marsh Bottom, having checked Marsh Top. Meanwhile, Odoron is heading north. Looks like he's going to check the 2 free chests in Dwarf's Cave. There are many more chests down below in Dwarfs, as well as 2 item turn-in locations, but they do require the Mystic Key to get access to. And hey, it's the Hooray Dwarf. For those of you who do not know the Final Fantasy randomizer set, that is the Hooray Dwarf. He will only ever say hooray. Some people like to enjoy the flag that liberates the Hooray Dwarf from his painful shouting of hooray all day, every day, for the rest of his life, but others just like to say hooray.
Not quite sure what 3 and 3 is doing, just kind of standing there. He was waiting on the Pegasus boots.
Just coordinating along the delay for the Archipelago.
It looks like he just got the canoe.
Ooh, that is huge. That accesses...
Both players have now passed the canoe to their partners.
Okay, that is huge. That's something that they did not see in the race before this, where pro rings available in Melman for a reasonable price. That's excellent to see, but the canoe gives access to far more of the map. That's Volcano, that is Ice Cave, that is also the water dock to get to Ordeals, which again have plenty of chests across those locations, as well as spike tiles where they might find a grind to bring the party up in strength rather fast.
It's like TK just fought Lanmola, while 3 and 3 is currently completing the Dream Shrine.
Looks like Odoron is taking the Melman relevant location or nearby check. Gonna go down to Earth Dungeon. There are 3 floors with chests that he can go through, but he would need the rod to go any deeper into this dungeon. He might also be just checking the spike tiles here, finding a giant, resetting out. Gonna check the lower chests in the dungeon and possibly check the 2 tiles that are in the Hall of Giants. 2 different encounters that are normally the same in the original vanilla game.
3 and 3 just checked the second bonk tree, and meanwhile, TK Ninja is in the southern shrine area to get those 2 checks.
It looks like, I believe that says gel picked up from the sages for...
That will drop enemies on respective Link's Awakening player. It is a trap chest.
Oh, bing, bong, boom. TK Ninja picking up the floater for his teammate. This is an immediate leave the dungeon and get in the boat and go. With the canoe. Oh, I have been corrected. It looks like that was a hint to check where it was. Says it is in the animal village, the bear cook.
So that is a trading sequence item, which neither player currently has.
That is knowledge that is extremely valuable to have. Having access to the hints that the Archipelago randomizer can give is very valuable. We do have some substantial divergence here yet again with the Final Fantasy randomizers. As Odoron is in Earth, his competitor Asheron is in Volcano. Currently on Volcano 2, what we call the Armory floor, as it is a very chest-rich and easy to get access to place that often has plenty of gear for the early game.
TK Ninja going for that second bonk tree, while 3 and 3 goes for the Moblin hideout.
And we did actually get a major incentive item over from 3 and 3 for his teammate. Or, nope, that was Asheron picking it up. That was the Oxyale found, which is access to the Sea Shrine in Onrak.
TK Ninja just received the Rock's Feather, which will allow him to jump. This is huge. It's probably maybe the second most important item in the game. So this pretty much will enable TK Ninja to access, I would say, 80% of the map.
Who'd have think being able to jump over gaps and ledges would provide additional mobility to get to more places faster?
Jumping in a Zelda game? Every dungeon requires the Rock's Feather to get into or near the boss room. So access to the Rock's Feather is very important.
I will admit, all I heard in my mind when you said that was, ha!
3 and 3, I believe, just received the Bird Key, which is the Dungeon 7 key. There are 2 dungeons that do not have keys. The rest all have to be unlocked. Technically, one of those isn't a physical key, it's a song, but it may as well be a key.
It is a auditory key. It is a vocalization
exactly.
that triggers an action.
And 3 and 3 has found the 3rd dungeon key with the slime key, which is the Dungeon 3 key. And he can actually do a good chunk of Dungeon 3 without the Rock's Feather, provided he can get over to Dungeon 3, which either requires the Rock's Feather or the Flippers.
As he is unlocking many things, as his teammate is providing many things out of Volcano, Asheron is dealing with some EXP. It's very high experience for a 4-pack of monsters, but he did lose the Thief in that fight. Gonna get more experience on the 3 remaining characters, and he might even keep that Thief face down. One mechanic with Final Fantasy, the first character in your party, his character's speed and agility and luck are factored into chance of getting, or basically first attack and ability to run. So having that high luck character in front, even if it's dead, means you have a higher chance of running from fights you don't want to fight.
I must have missed it at some point, but our Two Swords Draun has the Flippers, so a lot of those water-based dungeons are accessible. 3 and 3 has received their 2nd sword, and TK Ninja picked up the slime key.
Odoron getting the kill on the vampire in Earth, checking the final chest that he can without the rod. Gonna get out of there. Found some mummies with cremate, which wasn't all that fun for him. Meanwhile, Asheron has dealt with the Volcano Armory floor, is going down to the Agama floor, where there are yet more chests and some, at least one more grind tile he can check. And finding waters here, not going to take that fight. Understandably, they are extremely powerful for this early game.
So our 2 LADX players doing 2 separate things. 3 and 3 has handed the broom to the old lady in the animal village, and TK is heading to the flooded cave.
Looks like the angel key and the small key for Turtle Rock have been picked
I
up as
think that's
well.
the angler key. So that's the key to Dungeon 4. It's like the tail key was also acquired according to the tracker.
Almost Sauron getting wiped by some gargoyles that could do some very deadly things, but he is out of Earth and on elsewhere. Meanwhile, Ashrin finding on the Agama tile on the Agama floor, it's a 2-tile encounter location, the eye. This tends to be the juiciest tile one can take for a relatively quick grind. The only problem is the eye often has things that kill people, like insta-kill spells, or locks them in place, which, if it doesn't, it's a great grind. If it does, it's spooky.
Both Zelda players have gone out of their ways to get single checks. Neither one of them provided any progression.
Ooh, that is huge. Seeing Oshrin check his weapons, he has a katana +4. That is like the crittiest of crit swords, and that is incentive to keep his thief alive and leveled, because once he promotes, if he gets that tail, his thief will be able to wield that and have a lot of hits with a very crit happy weapon.
3 and 3 has all the dungeon keys. Meanwhile, TK has just one, but is currently in Camelot Castle.
Looks like Volcano was super rich for that kind of thing. Needless to say, Odoron will eventually be going there. It is a very chest-dense area as seen. As Ashrin is down on the final floor of Volcano, taking this one shot at the eye, gonna check the Red Dragon chest here, the last chest in Volcano, before possibly taking on Carrie to get those 2 shards.
TK Ninja found an Opal Gauntlet.
Opal Gauntlet is excellent armor, but it's only relevant for the promoted fighter, the Knight. Meanwhile, Odoron, having the crown, is checking with, getting a shard from the happy Astos, the noble Dark Elf King, who in this seed has been, well, shuffled around to another encounter later on. Some other quest giver will be the evil Elf King himself.
TK Ninja has remotely killed the ball and chain and determined that the reward was not good enough to go get it.
And looks like the RacesWild also pulling the hint for the floater, as the seashell was acquired, which could be handy.
3 and 3 heading into Dungeon 1, with, I believe, all of the required items to clear the dungeon.
Meanwhile, at the bottom of the fire dungeon, Ashrin is tempering up his fighter, getting extra strength, and going with swings. And Carrie does a one-shot on the thief. That is a dead thief. Temper going ahead, switching to Fade and Wall. Wall providing extra resistance to magical damage. Fade, meanwhile, doing a lot of damage. And Dark, not doing much. It reduces the accuracy of a character, but for a caster, accuracy is irrelevant. As long as that fighter does not get affected by Dark, it will continue swinging for damage. 21 damage is not taking all that much damage. There's good armor on that fighter at this point. More Fade coming out. Gonna see if you can get these 2 shards from this kill on Carrie. More Fade is the most logical thing to do with these red mages. They do not have good weapons to swing. Down 1 red mage, has red mage and fighter up. Whether or not he can get this kill, he would be happy to get it, but if he wipes, he's just going to leave most likely and never come back. It's only 2 shards. At this point, he would have really much liked it though, because that fighter being alone, it will get all of the experience.
Ooh, and 3 and 3 has left Dungeon 1, meaning they did not have enough to complete it. Meanwhile, TK Ninja is in the middle of D5.
Ooh, that is spooky. Hopefully this kill can come on Carrie, because she just cast Fast, which you saw how hard she hit that thief and that red mage. Fast literally doubles the number of hits that a character who has had it cast on it can use. Hold, not doing anything. And there's the kill on Carrie. That's all that experience onto that fighter. 2 shards available for that sweep of the volcano. Meanwhile, on the other side, Odoron going to Ordeals, getting through the pillar maze and checking all the chests at the top.
3 and 3 just did an excellent boots bonk to skip what is normally a required or a check that's hidden behind the Rock's Feather.
I did see a ribbon coming out of one of those chests on Ordeals.
And that ribbon has been traded already for dragon armor, it looks like.
Indeedly do, giving that chain shop a beautiful ribbon.
And a shard. TK Ninja found a shard for Odoron.
Interesting there. I just saw Ashrin running back into Crescent to get his party rezzed up. Those EXPs had Squint, which is an instant kill spell. Very much happy he got away from those. Meanwhile, Odoron out, found the Agma tile at the top, the actual Agma tile at the top of Ordeals, took it, ran away, is never coming back. The Agma, again, similar to the Eye, is a very juicy party or grind for a solo fighter, thief, or similar. As how Crescent, the floater was picked up for Ashrin by 3 and 3, and now we have our first runner in the sky in Final Fantasy.
TK just found yet another shard.
More shards, more better. They only need
more
32.
Shards.
I do believe that the scaling is based off of incentive items for the Final Fantasy randomizer. I do not believe that they are running scaling based off of the shard count. Scaling meaning that each encounter provides more gold and or experience to the parties. Ooh, and evidently the tail had been picked up at some point, so that is promotion for Ashrin. That is access to that katana for his ninja. Huge swing upgrade in damage. Meanwhile, Nuke and Fast located at level 6 magic in Crescent. Didn't see that before with Ashrin. That is some pretty powerful sweeper.
I believe TK just picked up the floater.
Well, that is perfect timing for his teammate, because Odoron in Crescent, you saw, is right straight down south to the desert to pop the airship out and get it in the air. Good proximity and timing for the teammates. Ashrin checking those dwarf chests before heading, looks like going to Canaria.
3 and 3 currently heading up the mountain to do a handful of checks there. Probably first on that list is handing off the pineapple.
Pineapple.
Oh, and TK has found their hookshot.
That I know is a very huge thing to find.
It's a very valuable weapon.
Yeah, I mean, Odoron finding Astos is actually, he switched places with the cave-dwelling old man, Sarda.
That pineapple turned into 50 rupees, so I guess that was valuable.
Yeah, pineapples were a status symbol for a while. There were people who even rent them out so people could have pineapples to put on their in their houses during parties to say, I own a pineapple. Real history, people.
TK Ninja is currently doing the Bay Mad Batter. Can't remember if we've already seen this one in particular, but and TK has found the Yoshi doll. It's an easy trade item.
Everyone loves stuffed dinos.
Seems to be showing up in a lot of games recently.
We have good divergence here still with the Final Fantasy randomizers. Ashrin is in the airship. He's taken the run down to the desert where the Mirage Tower and access to Sky is. With that chime and cube, he can go into the Mirage Tower and Sky, but currently he is running down, checking the encounter table in the desert, finding what we call the red stake, which is the dino. There's also the blue stake, it is the T-Rex. You can see he has a stake character sprite for it. That is one of the many flags in the randomizer, places the red stake and blue stake with red and blue stake. The Stake and Wings pack, where you have a wyvern with wings and some red stake to go with it. Meanwhile, in the opposite of the hot, wide desert, we have the ice cave for Oberon, finding a few items there in the 3-room pack.
3 and 3 is currently checking the hint books.
One of those items out of the ice cave was the adamant that unlocks the smith turn-in Dwarf's Cave.
TK is about to find their pineapple. Little do they know it's only worth 50 rupees.
Maybe it'd be better to just take it, cut it up, sprinkle some cinnamon on it, and cook it up and enjoy it. But nah.
TK has just received the bow from Oberon.
That is an excellent item to have. I don't know if the bow is required, but...
It is required for exactly 1 check. Although, between that or the bombs or the boomerang, one of them is required to finish the game.
We are seeing a look at Oberon's weapon situation. He has a Dragon Sword +5. That's one of the best swords he can swing with that thief. He also has a Vorpal +3. It's not exactly a great sword, the Vorpal, but +3, that is another very high crit chance weapon. Unfortunately, it requires promotion to be used, so he cannot use it just yet. Asher going through the Mirage first floor, finding plenty of chests to check. Passing some bombs on to his teammate.
3 and 3 is dealing with the fact that they still do not have a feather. There are only so many jumps that you can make while bonking off of nearby trees. And it looks like he's about to try another one.
Alderon losing his red mage, having go through this, not having exit or warp, cannot fast travel out of the ice cave. Having finished the loop, has to make his way to the exit stairs. Meanwhile, Asherin in the greater than less than floor of Sky, picking up another 10 chests, finding another ribbon. This one is actually a ribbon for Final Fantasy, which is a protective item that can basically give immunity to magic. I think it requires a 3 in 256 chance that it would be ignored. Even -3 as far as its resist or its armor protection quality, it still has all of the magic resistance.
TK doing parts of Color Dungeon, meanwhile 3 and 3 is in the Boots and Bomb Cave.
Asherin finishing up the Mirage Tower, going to go ahead and go up to the Q block to get into the Sky Palace. Meanwhile, Oberon has made his way from Ice Cave to Volcano, about to pick up all of those keys that Asherin's already gotten for 3 and 3. That will most likely make TK Ninja quite happy. Now, this is a good reason why Asherin did take that time to grind with those Steak and Wings packs in the desert. Sky Palace is the final Fiend dungeon. There are some very nasty encounters on this dungeon that you want to avoid dying to.
TK Ninja has found the chime for Oberon.
And that is access to Mirage and Sky Tower for his teammate.
It looks like 3 and 3 may be going to the top of the cliffs at Martha's Bay. It's a single out-of-the-way check with a hint. Oh, I stand corrected. 3 and 3 is bypassing that. Oh, right. They still don't have a feather.
One side has a feather for their Zelda player, the other side has the tail for their Final Fantasy player. The tail, very powerful given the weapons that have been gotten on either side. Plus, you saw that Asherin went back to level 1 and level 2 magic, because now that they're promoted, the fighter can get access to level 2 life, and basically white magic, level 2, or I believe up to level 3 magic with some restrictions.
Normally 3 and 3, once again, sorry, go for it.
Oh, sorry, normally the thief can also get access to black magic.
3 and 3 is currently going for another bonk over the a-hole since they do not have the feather. Meanwhile, it looks like TK is about to go enter Dungeon 3.
Creative movement strategies make the game go round. Ashrain going through Sky 2, finding a loose eye, gonna take that kill, get the experience. Meanwhile, the armory is being raided. Odoron getting plenty of items for his teammate very quickly.
Just a whole string of items were handed from Asherin to 3 and 3, including the scale, it looked like. As an aside, it looks like the tracker needs to be updated for 3 and 3 as they've also got the slime key.
And Ashton picking up out of that incentive chest in the bottom left of Sky 2 another ribbon. That is 2 ribbons, both of which are on the red wizards, giving them substantial survivability, which when they are the life casters of the party, the primary mage casters for nuke, that's very important. Keep those life casters alive.
TK Ninja pulling off a nice super jump to bypass an obstacle and receiving a series of seashells.
Demonstrating beautiful movement tech as Ashrin is in the Sky 3 floor with checking what we know in the community as CC's Gambit. Getting an opal shield out of those. That is one of the best defensive items the knight can equip.
3 and 3 just received a tail key, which at this point I think is 2 or 3 of those. There's a maximum of 3 of those, so once all have been collected, that will make completing a dungeon much faster. TK Ninja now has all the keys to the dungeons.
Getting closer and closer to parity as our racers trace back their competitors' steps either way. It's beautiful to see both teams having such great divergence.
3 and 3 just got the level 2 power bracelet, and is also in Dungeon 4, a dungeon that's very reliant on having one of, if not both of, the flippers and the feather, 2 items that he does not have.
Looks like Odoron, having found that eye tile, is going to do a bit of a short grind here. It doesn't seem to be doing anything too bad, and got a zap kill on it, put it in the 4th dimension, which is fun. Gonna use some Bane, try and get the kill with that. I don't know if it's totally effective against the eye. Oh, it is effective against the eye.
It looks like TK Ninja may have had an Archipelago desync, as they just re-received a bunch of items. But everything seems okay now.
There is some resilience built into the randomizer for synchronization.
There is, yes. It looks like TK is now also heading for D1. Meanwhile, 3 and 3 is in Dungeon 4 still.
Odoron
and has left Dungeon 4.
Looks like Odoron is continuing this grind, doing similar walking to and from these 2 tiles. Cannot get encounters off of those tiles, which is a safe grind, relatively speaking. Meanwhile, Ashrin has made it to the top of Sky, is on the Bridge of Destiny to Tia, and finds Warmech in its native habitat. Does he take the Warmech fight? Warmech is, without a shadow of doubt, the single densest chunk of experience in the game. But Warmech Vanilla, it only knows 2 moves, and those are Nuclear and Stomp. Unfortunately, with the randomizer, it doesn't necessarily have those, fortunate or unfortunate. Instead, its move pool is actually mixed in with the 4 Final Fiends and Chaos. So what moves it has are a mixture of what it could have, or those fiends could have.
Both racers for the Zelda side are currently in Dungeon 1. like TK may skip using one of the keys with another super jump.
Ooh, and there it is, a nuke coming out of Warmech, the ribbon on that red mage, number 1 of 2, keeping it alive. Fire 2 coming in, again tickling with the red mage having the ribbon. Unfortunately, that red mage is not likely going to survive, and that is a wipe. Now, Ashrin is not going to go all the way back, because there's no reason. That's only 4 shards at the top of that dungeon. He's just going to leave and hope he gets those shards otherwise. 32 shards is not impossible to get without fighting the fiends, by any means. Meanwhile, Odoron has gone and is fighting the Fiend of Fire, Carry.
3 and 3 has decided that they are going to go fight the Dungeon 1 boss, Moldorm. Again, not having a feather means that getting over there is rather difficult, but they have successfully bonked over there. Gotta love seeing good movement in action.
And doodly do. Movement tech is one of the great things of the Zelda series. I've always loved the moment I learned that screen wrapping was a thing in FF1 or in Zelda 1.
All right, 3 and 3 has taken down Moldorm very quickly and is now at instrument number 1, 6.
Interesting. Tia evidently stoned the red mage on Odoron's side. Is actually using zap strats from the black mage. Oh, there's that fast. There's the worry. Remember, this is a kill for 2 whole shards for Odoron's side. He gets it. It's not just 2 shards. It is also a fast exit. Just being able to use that portal behind the orb light.
Do they have a tracker for the number of shards that they already have?
Yes, they do. If you see when they open up their main menu, the top left corner of their screen where they normally have the 4 orbs, it has small orbs lit, and those are the shards. So
Gotcha.
It looks like 2 and a bit rows for Shirin, who is going to the Earth Cave to start raiding that. Meanwhile, Odoron has his tail, is going to promote. Miserable in chat saying 16 shards seems for Ashrin. Just a bit fewer for Odoron, but Odoron is happy to have been promoted. That is a Katana +5 and a Vorpal +3. Katana on the Thief, who is now a Ninja, and the Vorpal on the Knight. That
TK
provides
Ninja heading
high
over to
crit.
D4. Unlike when 3 and 3 was there, TK has all of the items required to get through Dungeon 4. A single small key and a Nightmare key is technically enough to get through this dungeon. Based on the movement tech shown off earlier, TK clearly has the skill to make this dungeon a 1-key dungeon.
Now, Ashrin is continuing deep diving Earth. There are plenty of chests. It's not the fastest dungeon to get down to, and of course, not having that rod, he cannot get down to the final 2 floors to face the Earth Fiend or check what was the Earth Armory, which is, I believe, 7 or 8 more chests. But Odoron, on the other side, has got the Chiming Cube, is going to the desert, going up the Mirage Tower. Hopefully we'll find and slay a McDonald's, a Warmech, a robot chicken, as we know is available, if he's on the same step count as his opponent when he gets there.
TK Ninja just received the bombs from their Final Fantasy player, just in time to not need them because they did a sideways block push.
Skill trumps utility of items, but hey, bombs are still explosives.
And they allow you to collect items from afar and trigger cutscenes and a whole lot more in Zelda.
And bombs
are magic.
Well, and there is a huge thing. 3 and 3 has gotten the feather from his teammate. It was in the bottom 3 chests on Earth 2.
3 and 3 found the dog food as well. There's a very hungry crocodile who will be happy to see that.
I thought alligators were the dogs of Florida. Well,
I feel like any statement could be made about Link's Awakening and it will always sound nonsensical. It looks like 3 and 3 just received their flippers. So finally another movement item. And at some point, they also seem to have received their feather. So they
Yes,
are
that was...
much better off.
Yep, that was out of Earth 2 bottom 3 pack.
3 and 3 now heading towards Dungeon 3.
Odoron finding the mummy pack. Wiz Mummies getting cremated by that 7 stack of cremation equipped mummies. It's funny, you would think that the mummies themselves would be the cremated item in the party, but hopefully he got... Oh wait, no, I know he did not go back to the Lefane and Provoca and Canaria to get magic on that night. He does not have life casts for it.
TK Ninja is going up to go sell a pineapple for 50 rupees.
Make bank.
Gotta make your money somehow.
Ashrin actually decided to reset out, does not bother fighting the vampire to get access to that one item. Instead, he is going to dwarf, so it looks like he has either the adamant or the TNT, or has... Oh, he has the key. Both of our racers have their keys. That mystic key unlocks every single locked door in the game in Dwarf's Cave, having 7 item checks, I do believe, here that can be easily gotten. Well, 8 chests.
TK Ninja seems to be heading up towards Dungeon 7 right now. Meanwhile, 3 and 3 is going and doing the optional rooms in Dungeon 3 to get the checks there.
Yeah, having just received another nightmare key from his teammate. Whether he needs it or not.
TK like... is doing 5 chest room. And the room outside of 5 chest room, which contains a key for Key Cavern.
Looks like Odoron has left Sky. It didn't even get into Sky, just went through Mirage. Is actually making the run down to Lefane. He does not have the tablet, and it is not translated, so he can't talk to the Lefanians and get the incentive item here, but he can take advantage of one of the randomizer flags, which includes a inn and a clinic in Lefane, so he can res his party. He also could take advantage of the Lefanian Superstore that was mentioned before, where instead of just having Lefane's level 8 magic, there's a giant mall of white and black magic stores. He can get all of the level 1 through 6 magic here and now.
Having checked all of the optional rooms, 3 and 3 is now going through the dungeon normally, or mostly normally, and collecting all of the items that would be on the critical path. Meanwhile, TK Ninja is almost at the top of Telltale East towards Dungeon 7.
As Odoron was getting healed up, rezzed up, and picking up magic, Shrin he checked the 3 chests at the Tove, Temple of Fiends, in the right chests, which are locked normally, and he's also checking the Canaria Treasury, finding 6 items, including a rooster.
A flying rooster, the boomerang, the powder upgrade. That was a good series of checks. The boomerang is effectively the strongest weapon in Link's Awakening. It is a one-hit kill on nearly everything, including the final boss.
All those very valuable checks taken care of, he is now down in Elfland, checking with the Elf Prince, getting some gold. Then he's also going to go up to the right of the castle and find the shed, which has the elf treasury. For whatever reason, it's a detached shed behind the castle.
TK Ninja finding a rune sword for Odoron.
A reasonable weapon, but not relevant at this point given the weapons that both of these racers have already. Those katanas and vorpals make their melee characters very happy.
TK finding the nightmare key for the face shrine.
Also, it looks like a gold leaf for 3 and 3 from Ashrin. That is a relevant item.
TK Ninja bomb triggering the pillars instead of using the ball.
Any problem can be solved with the proper application of explosives.
Link's Awakening absolutely has no glitches that are exploitable.
Odoron, with all of his magic, with his party rezzed up, is now going back into Sky gonna get those chests on Sky 1 through 3, and hopefully we see him face McDonald's up at the Bridge of Destiny, if not even just Tia. Get those 4 shards out of that fight. Meanwhile, Ashrin making very quick work of getting 4 whole lines of shards. He's doing very well for himself at this point. Heading to the Onrak continent, gonna check with both the waterfall check, if he wishes to check with the robot as well as the chest in the waterfall, and or just go straight into sea and get plenty of chests out of the mermaid floor and the rest of sea itself.
Our Zelda runners are making very similar progress through their respective dungeons. TK Ninja has almost taken out the final pillar, which will drop down the 3rd floor onto the 2nd floor, effectively giving access to the Nightmare. And 3 and 3 is almost done with Dungeon 3. 3 and 3 does not have the Nightmare key, and so cannot complete Dungeon 3, though.
As Odron makes his way into the Sky Palace, Ashrin did choose to go to Waterfall first. There are a lot of really good encounters in Waterfall, although some of them are less so good. If you find a number of Gasties, they are a reasonably good fight, good experience, but not really valuable in a solo.
TK Ninja once again showing that super jumps kind of break the game.
I mean, how could the game be broken if a mechanic exists in the game in the first place? It wasn't intended, but it exists. Intended.
3 and 3 just catfished Will Wright and also got the red tunic.
That is huge defensive upgrade.
The red tunic is power.
Ah.
So it just made their sword even stronger. And also, he handed a letter to the creator of The Sims and SimCity from a goat that is posing as Princess Peach.
A goat posing as Princess Peach sent a letter to Will Wright. Got it.
Yep, that's correct. I don't know how that could make any more sense. It appears that the shield has been collected by both players now.
And
the shield is not a fully required item, but will be valuable to both.
Looks like Ashrin has dealt with the waterfall, is down and going into sea. Looks like he's going right side, which gives him access to TFC floor as well as mermaid floor. And the magic rod has been found.
Magic rod is a very important weapon. It's an alternate fire source, and it is required for a lot of checks in the late game. The scale was just found for TK.
Yes, 3 and 3 getting a heart container from his teammate out of the TFC, that C-shaped, crescent-shaped room that in the community we call TFC because that one chest is actually locked behind the Mystic Key, despite in the vanilla game you never possibly having not had the Mystic Key at this point. In other words, only being randomized do we realize we can't get in there.
Three and 3 is now going through Dungeon 3, which they should have all of the required keys for. Meanwhile, TK Ninja is about to go fight Evil Eagle, which I believe would be their first instrument.
Now, the big question here on Mermaid's Floor, not only is there a good number of chests that Ashton will be picking up, is whether or not he chooses to carbonate bubbles. You see, we have in the community a few teams for co-op play, including Bubble Soda Company, who very much advocates, I should say our restreamer today, Hate 13th, is a founding member of said Bubble Soda Company, carbonating bubbles. Good work, Ashrin. You have freed bubbles to be used for her greatest purpose, carbonation of soda.
Oh, and TK Ninja has reset the fight by falling off the tower. Meanwhile, 3 and 3 was given their magic rod, so now they can cast fire as well. And they found a piece of wood. In Link's Awakening, the second shield is not required. It does absolutely nothing of value except for allowing easier passage through a single fireball-filled hallway that you can pass with enough heart containers. So we affectionately call it the piece of wood, because that's about as useful as it is.
Now, interesting there, Ashrin did find a French vanilla slab that looked like in a chest on the mermaid floor and reset out.
A slab of French vanilla sounds delicious.
One would say. French vanilla in the Final Fantasy randomizer means a item that's in a place either where it shouldn't be on the same location or is like inverted in the chain of quests. It just means
we have the same phrasing.
Ah, good to know commonality.
Yep.
But now I want ice cream.
Right? It's kind of what I'm saying. TK has finished Dungeon 7 and now also has an instrument. I would say this puts both TK and 3 and 3 in the same location, except that 3 and 3 is entering Genie, which is the Dungeon 2 boss. Let's see if 3 and 3 goes for the quick kill. TK Ninja received the second power bracelet, which is useful in exactly one location.
As Ashrin pulls out the bottle out of the Sharknado floor bottom 2 chests, that is another check and a reason to go to Gaia, the town in the hill or the mountain.
3 and 3 successfully pulled off the quick kill, killing Genie in 1 round, and picks up their second instrument.
Yep, and on the way has got the power gauntlet for his teammate. That is a very powerful caster item that casts Saber on its wielder, which substantially increases their strong.
TK Ninja is currently in Dungeon 4. I don't believe they have the required keys to finish this dungeon at the moment.
Get your robot chickens in chat, people. Odoron has made it through Sky and is on the Bridge of Destiny. We know that there is a step counter encounter for a war mech after some... And let's see, hope he is in a similar count. You see the randomizer, as in vanilla Final Fantasy, you have a set encounter table at the rolling of the seed itself. So if one player moves the same number of tiles as they go, they will be encountering the same things, and unfortunately no. Odoron has bypassed Warmech.
TK has found yet another shard.
We have our first fight with the Dragon Queen herself. We see Fast coming out on the ninja. We see Rue Stick coming out. Or was that Invis Sword? I do not see. Zap coming out trying to get an insta-kill on the Fiend. Instead, 10 hits, 470 from that ninja. 4 hits, 72 from the fighter. Going swing, swing, zap. Not bothering to try and buff. 10 hits, 416. The Tia should go down reasonably quickly at this rate. We have not seen everything Tia has, though. Punch, 3 hits for 95. Meanwhile, on the other side, we have our Kraken fight with Eshrin. Whether or not these dueling 4-shard fiends, who gets the first kill? It is Orderon, who was in the fight earlier. That is an air shard being lit up and 4 more shards for him. Meanwhile, Kraken seems to have fire too. It's a hot, hot octopus. Or is it
TK Ninja found their Nightmare Key for Dungeon 4 and can go complete the dungeon. Also, 3 and 3 has found their hookshot.
Big value there. Looks like heal 3 out from Ashrin, keeping the party up from that fire 2 that is doing plenty of damage. I don't know if Odoron... Oh yes, Odoron has 2 ribbons, 1 each on the red mage, so that fire 2 is not necessarily going to threat those red mages, although they do have relatively thin health for their levels. Gonna choose go heal 3 again from one red mage, fade from the other. Odoron picking up, we're getting another ribbon, huge value.
3 and 3 currently working their way through Dungeon 5. Meanwhile, TK is clearing out Dungeon 4 before heading to Anglerfish.
Ashrin choosing to temper his thief. That was 3 hits for over 1100 damage. Those tempers massively upping the strength of the thief. Or ninja getting those swings in. That is the water orb lit and 4 shards for Ashrin. Each of our Final Fantasy racers have 2 fiends killed.
Three and 3 tucking in his stomach and scooching by some pots in order to get fast access to the D5 boss, Slimeal.
Looks like Odoron is going to Waterfall on the Onrak continent, as Ashrin is going to Gaia to check what's in the store, restock any items if can, and or go pop a bottle and free a fairy.
TK found yet another shard and is heading into Anglerfish. Meanwhile, 3 and 3 is in the middle of the Slimeal fight.
And the fairy had 50 rupees hidden under her in her pool. I mean, the fairies are a common thing in Zelda as well. They normally provide healing, though.
Simultaneous boss kills from the 2 Zelda players, and both head into their respective instrument rooms. Surf Harp and Wind Marimba acquired.
As Odoron begins the dive in sea, we have the loot hint, it looks like. Is that a hint or is that item found? That is a hint for the loot from Ashrin and 3 and 3. The switch wrapped chest. The loot being the incentive item that gets access to Topher along with the key, which Odoron and TK Ninja already have.
Now, both Zelda players will need to find the Ocarina before they can access the egg at the end of the game. Neither player has currently found it.
Each game evidently locked by instrumentals.
They will also need the Ballad of the Windfish, which I believe 3 and 3 has found, but TK Ninja has not.
Ashrin, having gone through dungeon fights, having gotten a reasonable number of shards, looks like is choosing to stick it out and get the grind on the steak and wings combos here in the desert, bring his levels up for his party. Might look at downing one or more of his characters to try and focus that experience, or is just shifting his weapons around to get mapped or optimal damage. Yep, getting the Vorpal on the fighter for extra crit chance, and the fire sword going on his first red mage. Those red mages have the ability to swing reasonable swords, although you'd assume they will mostly focus on casting.
TK Ninja has found Bow Wow, a not particularly useful item that is only actually necessary in the vanilla game.
Seeing all the shards available, Ashrin has only 4 shards left. He is at this point most likely just waiting for his teammate, having raided most of the available chests to him, his teammate to find a few more shards or find a few more items to unlock more turn-ins. Still outstanding for turn-ins, you've got the crystal, you also have the ruby, which will give you access to the Titan's Trove, and the rod, which gets access to the fiend or the Earth Fiend floors, which gives several more checks for boxes.
TK and 3 and 3 both making their ways to and through dungeons. 3 and 3 heading through to Dungeon 7, and TK almost done with Dungeon 5.
Speaking of dungeons, Odoron is on Kraken's floor in sea, gonna go ahead and fight himself a final boss. Is not nearly on par with the shards, can make up that shard difference between him and his opponent fairly fast though.
TK Ninja realized that they did not have the Nightmare Key for Dungeon 5. Oh no! They cannot complete this dungeon just yet. Meanwhile, 3 and 3 is currently working their way up to the second floor of Dungeon 7.
We have Kraken fire. We have a ruse going out on that thief, moved into the second slot. A fast going out on that thief. The ruse increases its chance of evasion. The fast doubles its swings. The temper increases its strength. Looks like we're going to go ahead and see some Invis 2, which increases the evasion of the entire party. More temper out of that red mage on the thief, and the thief itself, or ninja, is going to, I believe, swing. There it goes. Swings for 4 hits, not getting many hits out, but doing reasonable damage already with that extra strength. This is a very evasive Kraken. Stacking more Invis for evasion, stacking more temper for damage. 4 hits, 450. This Kraken is not living long at this point. Those Invis and ruse stacks very much helping keep that run alive, the ninja.
TK Ninja's heading into Dungeon 6. A quick shout out to our chat for noting that while Ballad of the Windfish is not actually needed, it was also collected by TK Ninja. So both players now have it, even though it's only technically needed.
With that kill on Kraken, that's 4 shards. That brings Odoron actually 1 shard ahead, only 3 shards away from getting into Topher, having the key and the loot. That literally is go mode. Noting that the loot is missing from Asherin, which partially explains why he's focusing on the grind now. All Odoron needs to do is somehow get 3 more shards and he can get into the final fight. Gonna turn in that adamant, gonna pick up some gold, nothing special. Just exchanging raw materials.
TK Ninja currently skipping the east side of the dungeon to go collect some checks without the required keys. And also received the Nightmare Key for Dungeon 2, which I believe is all that was required in order to be able to access the genie fight.
Asherin using this time to focus on getting his whole party strong. More levels equals more experience, or more health for the party for survivability against the final fiends. It also increases the number of hits that the thief and the fighter will get as they swing. If he levels up high, that thief could get as high as 7 or even 8 hits, which each hit increases the total damage done.
TK just received the blue tunic, which raises defense.
Odoron getting that out of the Northwest Castle 3-pack as he continues his raiding of the castles, which Asherin had done already. Probably next stop is going to be Toph itself. Get those 3 chests in Tovlock.
TK just received the letter and the boomerang and the powder upgrade. And the flying rooster. It's heading into the facade fight.
Corneria Castle was stacked with items of relevance. There are only a few more chests that can be accessed by either of these runners without access to... Oh, correction? Yeah, without access into Topher or Short Topher itself. I do believe Marsh Bottom with its 2 lock chests and not much else. Odoron actually finding the Metal Slime pack here. That Metal Slime pack, 4, 5, or even 6 Metal Slimes when you have access to Fire Magic, which they are weak for, or Nuke and or Fade, is an extremely juicy experience grind, and especially for a party. It is better for a party grind grinding that tile than the likes of the overworld grind against the Stake and Wings and Stake packs that Asherin is currently fighting. So there's a high chance that if Odoron's stuck here for a while, he could actually make up the difference in the levels and experience that Asherin has been building up over the past few minutes.
Wow, 3 and 3 just used some clever maneuvering to get around the requirement for the Dungeon 7 Nightmare Key. Meanwhile, TK Ninja has picked up the Dungeon 6 instrument and is at 3 instruments as well.
One of the few things that I've heard of about this randomizer is this quick kill strat that 3 and 3 is using, essentially killing it through the floor.
Link's Awakening has no glitches.
It's just unintended strategies. And that was the Ruby
strategies.
acquired for Odoron from TK Ninja, I believe. Yep, so that's access to 4 more checks here in the Titans Trove.
3 and 3 has collected their 4th instrument. Meanwhile, TK Ninja is heading over to the Moldorm fight to collect the instrument from Dungeon 1.
And he has just received a necklace of all things from his teammate out of that Titans Trove. Ashrin looking to get those final 4 shards by going all the way back up Sky, is gonna fight Tia. This is a very fast run back given the length of the dungeon, so not a bad choice to get into full go mode. Meanwhile, Odoron going to Sea Shrine, gonna go all the way down and get the final shard. Ooh, only needs 1 shard even, is going down to fight Kraken. It's worth 4 shards, only needs 1, and it's the straight up known entity to get those shards from.
3 and 3 may actually be in go mode as of right now, depending on how many keys are currently had for Dungeon 6.
I might be mistaken. I think Odoron hasn't even been to sea just yet, so he might just be going to raid sea, hopefully find that shard, and then any necessary items for his teammate.
Chat has corrected me yet again. You do not need any small keys for Dungeon 8 or Dungeon 6 to bull rush the boss. I was aware of that for Dungeon 8, but not for Dungeon 6.
We always appreciate members of the community stepping in to correct our commentator errors. We speak, we do not necessarily know correctly. We are ever learning. So we have Nachos for a final encounter potentially here on the Bridge of Destiny for Ashrin. Actually giving a moment to step to see if we can get that Warmack. We appreciate it. Is in that final fight for him against Tiamat, the Sky Dragon Queen.
3 and 3 has both skipped collecting Marin up on the bridge, leaving her to her fate, as well as finding the stick, the most important item, because it lets Terran poke a beehive.
Busy bees.
3 and 3 also showing us why the level 2 shield is not required.
This Tiamat fight does not seem to be long due. Tiamat not doing anything substantial damage-wise. We are seeing temper, we are seeing stacks of evasion out of Ashrin on his thief, focusing that strunk on the high evasion party member. That Vorpal not doing a lot of damage. It's only about as strong as a heavy silver sword, but it does have high crit, especially when it rolls up, which helps with enemies with high absorb. And there we go. That is a kill on Tia. That is the full shards required for Ashrin. He is now in go mode. Meanwhile, Odoron, thank you for your service, carbonating bubbles. I should say each of these mermaids, or most of these mermaids, have their own name given based on what they say when you speak to them. And thanks to the NPC guillotine flag, they have the ability to be spoken to and removed. And thus, Bubbles, who says, "Will we become Bubbles?" has been released and has indeed become Bubbles. Odoron, picking up the last shard needed, is actually not needing to go down deeper, is now in go mode himself.
I believe all players are currently in go mode.
The best of all occasions and very close in timing. These racers have raced twice now in this tournament, and they have been within 5 minutes of each other each time. Ooh-hoo-hoo, Ashrin going to the one known guaranteed Masa chest, which we also know is guaranteed to have a Warmech guarding it. We do get a Warmech fight.
Alright, 3 and 3 has completed Dungeon 8 and is 1 instrument away from being able to access the egg.
I do believe the fighter's malice, now I recall, was a no Masa malice, so that fighter or that knight will not be able to swing the best sword in the game, but the best sword in the game happens to be swingable by every character, so those red mages could use it as a backup weapon, or the thief might use it just because why not use that over a katana, because it is the best weapon in the game regardless. Well, if it rolls up, similar to that katana, which rolled +5. Oop, the Masa rolled +5. That is huge news. That is an indicator of one thing in the randomizer. If you have no room in your inventory for a weapon or piece of armor, and you check a chest that contains a weapon or piece of armor, it will tell you what is in that chest, but not trigger the equipment or the access to the item, which in a case like a locked chest with a guardian like Warmech, you skip the encounter until you make room for that weapon.
TK Ninja has just broken their way into Dungeon 8. Meanwhile, 3 and 3 heading up the mountain again. Interesting.
With that Massa acquired, with a save out Lich 2 fight encounter for Asher, our first fight or dungeon runner to actually make it to a final Fiend refight. Looks like you put the Masa on the Thief. It looks like the same thing is going to be done here. Possibly by... Yeah, cannot put the Masa on the Knight. Odoron just realizing that, gonna put it on the Ninja. Actually, no, putting on the Red Mage. Going with that as a backup or melee for his caster. Likewise, gonna go out and save before fighting the Fiends. Ashran done with the Lich 2 fight, healing up before continuing. He has to fight every single Fiend with a whole new skill set and more power to him. And as I said before, Warmech, all 4 Fiend refights and Chaos, their normal skill sets are randomized. Woohoo, carry 2, one-shotting that first Red Mage in slot 2. Slot 1 has a 50% chance of being swung at. Slot 2 has a similar... I can't remember. It's basically 50, 25, 25 something or other. But either way, that is a dead carry 2. Lich 2 didn't even care to see that on our own side. He is now also fighting carry 2.
TK Ninja has just picked up their 5th instrument.
1 left for requirement.
Meanwhile, 3 and 3 has returned to Eagle's Tower, Dungeon 7. Presumably to go clear it out for checks.
On to the spookiest, or one of the spookiest fights, Kraken 2. Normally a big barrier because it can be known to punch dead, especially red or white mages. If they exist, it will target them. It's not in the code, it just happens. We don't know why. Gonna go with evasion stacks from Ashran. Gonna go ahead and do the same over for Odoron. Get survivability, get strong with those tempers out of the red mages on that ninja. He is the primary weapon swinger with that Masa. 902 damage out of 4 hits. That is a Kraken 2 down. Ashran is on the final Fiend refight with Tiamat 2.
TK Ninja's heading to the Genie fight. Meanwhile, just a correction for chat this time around. 3 and 3 did collect the instrument in 7. They went and super jumped around the boss key door. So they have 5 instruments.
And an input from our restreamer Hate the 13th in chat. It is 50, 25, 12, or 12.5, 12.5 as far as the chance of being swung at in parties. So the front of your party, 50% chance. The second slot, 25, and it's split 12.5 between the others. Tiamat using some fire breath, doing some chip damage, but that ninja and that fighter are doing reasonable damage, especially the ninja. Lit 2, that's pretty thematic for the Sky Fiend. Swing with the Masa on the ninja, 5 hits, 670. That is a kill on Tiamat 2. Odoron is not far behind, but Ashran is our first runner ready to face the final boss of the run. And there it is. Odoron has got the kill on Tia 2 and is on his way down. Gonna go ahead and do some heal up. Use heal 3. Use up those charges. Heals the entire party all at once, not having to menu for all the heal pots. And oh my word, yep, Ashran just refought Tia 2 on accident. I'm assuming on accident. as Chaos is pulled by Odoron.
3 and 3 heading into Dungeon 6. Meanwhile, TK is almost at the boss for Dungeon 2.
Odoron getting invis stacks up, gonna try and keep evasion, get some temper out for the red mage. That increases the strength of the ninja. Still swinging that katana, choosing the black mage for nuke, the highest damage spell it can cast. So Inferno coming out, that is the strongest of the fire spells the fiends can use, only really doing chip damage to the party. Obviously that fighter has taken a lot of damage. Ice, there's invis stacks coming out from that fire. It is the ablative meat shield. It is the dodge caster for the party. 7 hits, 700 damage. That ninja is doing full fights. Meanwhile, Ashrin finally getting through his second fight of Tiamat and is on to stack for the chaos fight. Fade coming out from the fighter, actually gonna have all the invis stacks up. Heal 3 coming out for the red mage to bring everyone back up standing. Ooh, 330 damage, not all that much swing. Ink coming out, not doing really anything, because again, Dark only affects the accuracy of melee swings, and that Black Mage does not swing melee. Fade again coming out, 250 damage, pretty solid swing, 4 hits, 607. GG for Odoron, our first runner in the race to finish. Obviously, as has been mentioned in chat, it looks like the TK Ninja 3 and 3
TK
fight
has just collected their 6th instrument.
That puts them in go mode for the final boss fight. Those TK Ninja just needs to finish out his run to take the win for 2 swords drawn.
And TK is now going through the string of collects from Odoron's game. Remaining items in Archipelago are handed to your partner player when you finish your game. So we just saw all of the items that were still sitting in Odoron's game. Fortunately for TK, the final dungeon that he completed was Dungeon 2, which is 2 screens over from the egg. And now with
routing.
Yeah, and now with no ocarina, he's going to use a bomb to play some instruments.
Hey, you just need a large pressure wave that you can focus through the instruments and trigger
and meanwhile,
their play.
3 and 3 has just picked up their final instrument. They are on the other side of the map.
Unfortunate routing for the randomizer for 3 and 3.
It could come down to whether or not the Shadow of Aghanim is slow in its pattern. The Aghanim fight plays a lot like the one in A Link to the Past, where you can either throw a ball that you can reflect back with your sword, or a ball that explodes and you cannot reflect back. This pattern is random and changes every time. There is no way to really guarantee which pattern he's going to end up with here.
Now this is interesting. I don't know if Ashrin's speed has frozen or he is just sitting there waiting for his teammate to get into the final fight and trying to sync it up with him. I'm guessing his feed is frozen, although that green dot in the top right of his screen seems to be blinking different colors. One unfortunate thing with Final Fantasy 1 is if you're not moving on the screen, it doesn't look like anything's happening, in combat at least. Something fixed.
3 and 3 is almost at
battle.
the egg. Three and 3 just trying to time up that bomb trigger. Meanwhile, TK Ninja is waiting to see whether Aghanim provides a good shot.
No, our tracker coming in, or restreamer pointing out that his timer is moving, so his speed is live. It looks like he is just waiting.
Aghanim provided only good hits. So TK Ninja moving on to the next part of this fight. Which unfortunately for 3 and 3 makes it very unlikely that he will catch up. We are now in the Ganon phase of this fight. Meanwhile, the egg is opened on 3 and 3's screen, and TK Ninja going to go get the feather and the boomerang to get the quick kill on Deatheye.
Showing his skills dodging away.
Normally this battle takes either several arrows or many, many more dropped bombs, or I believe, well, that's it. That was the final hit. Time, I believe, is when he climbs onto the staircase. There we go. That's time.
That is GG with 2 swords drawn, taking the best out of 2 out of 3 in this race.
That was. Sorry.
I said we will see if we can get our racers in. Here they are, Draun and TK Ninja. Welcome to the booth. GG's.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
It was nowhere near as bad FFR side as that last race was.
You actually got the canoe early, and you were able to get into the sky reasonably fast, all things considered. So yeah.
I just want to quickly point out that 3 and 3 has had now 3, I believe, blue balls from the Aghanim Shadow.
Oh no!
Ooh,
in a row.
That's rough.
Getting all the bad luck that he would have needed TK Ninja to get to catch up.
Exactly.
I got really lucky with all of those free hits there.
Yeah.
Aghanim doesn't want to cooperate. You just ain't gonna do anything else.
Wow, it is still going on there. They've not gotten a single good hit yet.
Whoop.
Momentary glitch on our restream.
Yes.
An unfortunate side effect if the stream goes down, the way OBS is usually set up, it will just grab whatever stream is still live and redirect it to that spot. So,
Hi, folks. No, that was just me clicking the wrong button.
okay. I gave you
It
the benefit of the
happens.
doubt. So, what did you guys actually think of your respective seeds for this race? We know Final Fantasy Randomizer seed this time was a little more forgiving than it was last race.
He got a lot of items for me, so that was a very, very stacked LADX side on the FFR chests.
TK, how did you feel about having sword right out the bat?
It's a pretty normal start. You get that every once in a while. I was not expecting to find the second sword so soon again after having it so soon in Game 2.
It does leave you a little overpowered really early on, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, love having it. Makes everything a lot easier.
And 3 and 3 has finished their game.
And meanwhile, Ashrin has stepped back up and is continuing the fight. And looks like 3 and 3, or Ashrin, I should say, is running at a low response. Either he's slowed his emulator down by...
So that happened to my emulator. Because the LADX players got so many items and were able to skip a lot of their checks, it was so many items sent to the FFR side, it almost crashed my side.
Well, he has gotten past the scripts, his screen is clear, and he is now getting the swings in. He actually chose to put the Masa on one of his red mages instead of put it on the ninja. How much would you have liked having that Masa on the knight?
Oh, I would have loved it on the knight, but I really liked the Katana +4 on the ninja instead.
Either way, the crit capability and damage really worked. And it looks like, yep, Ashrin is going swing across the team, gets the kill, and ties it.
GG's.
And all things considered, I do believe this race was actually closer than the other two.
It was.
Just 3 minutes apart or thereabouts.
Somehow we just kept getting closer and closer every time.
Makes for a tense finish, huh?
Absolutely. Are we waiting on Ashrin or 3 and 3 to join us over here?
We will see about getting them into the chat. I do believe we are getting some help with that.
I think that's what's going on. Yeah.
And thank you much. And welcome, Ashrin and 3 and 3. GG's. This was actually the closest race of the 3. Excellently played.
GG's, guys. Thank you.
GG, guys.
GG's.
3 and 3. How's it feel to have to do most of a run without the Rock's Feather?
Yeah, that was that took a while. I was at some point I realized I think because we were going out of logic pretty fast, and I realized I think this feather must be somewhere earlier in logic. Luckily, my flippers were in the same spot when I hinted for those. So
You guys on the LADX side sort of got what the canoe not being found early for the Final Fantasy Randomizer racers was last game.
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
we found the canoe fast.
That we did, though.
There was a point in time during this race where 3 and 3 and TK were both checking the same checks, but TK Ninja had both the flippers and the Rock's Feather.
Oh man.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love those parallels that you can draw in these race streams where you have just the same checks every time between the two runners, and you look at how close they are.
Made all that more absurd by the differences in items had and just the mechanics necessary to get to each of those locations.
You see all the ways that the paths diverge and then reconverge. It's such an interesting take.
On the Final Fantasy Randomizer side, Odoron, Ashrin was literally in lockstep with you, a fiend fight behind. Ashrin, what happened with the Tia 2 fight? Did you accidentally go up and fight her again?
Yes. I hit the wrong button on my pad and went left, and then I went, oh no, and I'm fairly new to running this, so I was like, oh, I missed my down, so I gotta go back, and then the trap tile went off, and I went, oh yeah, that doesn't disappear once I killed it. And then when I went down, I noticed that there was a different way I could have gotten back into chaos, and I was like, man.
It happens.
Yup.
But that was how close you two were. You were within like 15 seconds of each other up until that point.
Man.
That's crazy.
It's a great run for all four of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a fun siege. You guys did great.
That was a really good one, yeah.
I'm so sad I missed that nightmare key in the bird tower.
Well, you bypassed the nightmare door.
Oh no, but there was the nightmare key for Face Shrine, which was in Bird Tower. And I
Oh
hinted it
yes.
Oh, right.
after I had left. So I had to go back to the Bird Tower. And
I was trying to figure out why you went back there. I was like, you absolutely killed Evil Eagle.
yeah, I
So-
needed one more key, and that's the one I hinted for. I would have preferred if it was somewhere easier, or if I'd done it. I was one check away when I left the tower. I should have. Just
Neither
done
of
one
you
check to get it.
finished Dungeon 3, but you didn't. One of you finished Dungeon 4, and the other finished Dungeon 5. So.
Oh, okay.
You had options. Definitely had options. You weren't being railroaded down a very specific path.
Right.
I do appreciate our Final Fantasy members both choosing to take the fight against Wormek to get that mouse up. We saw multiple Wormek encounters, and even a Wormek wipe on the Bridge of Destiny, but
Oof.
get
Yeah.
get that experience. The thing about the Wormek wipe, though, you got to remember you had save on death, so that was basically just skipped on those 4 shards against TM, which in the end worked out.
Yeah, it was not.
It's not? Oh wow.
Oh dear.
I was mistaken this entire time.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I think we thought that initially.
you keep the AP items just because the system
How
was like,
Archipelago
hey,
worked,
it
yeah.
got found, so you keep it no matter what.
Well, you guys had a harder time than I was expecting. And still were within minutes of each other.
Did anyone count my blue balls?
Yeah, I was
Really curious.
watching that. That was rough.
That's
I've
7?
never had that.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeesh.
It was the luck that we said that TK needed to have for you to catch up, because his final dungeon was D2,
Oh.
and for you to get over there from D6 meant he needed to get stuck in the Agaf part of the fight. And then, of course, you immediately turned out the same luck. TK, I don't think you got any blue balls out of Aghanim, did you?
Not at all. It was a clean fight.
Unfortunate luck.
Yep.
Well, those are the ways of the rando.
That's how it happens.
Well, how about we go ahead and starting with our winners of the of the bracket so far. Over on TK Ninja, what did you think overall of the seeds? Get some final thoughts.
I thought it was a very good seed for people who don't follow the Never Ice and Never Earth mentality. There's some really good items in both.
I
Other
thought
than
all
that-
3 seeds were very good seeds for the race, as evidenced by how close they all were at the end.
Oh yeah, no, there's no doubt about that. They're great for that aspect.
Even with a couple of lucky finds, nothing really broke anything. There was no, we could finish 20 minutes sooner than the other people. It's, oh, this just happened to be that we didn't have AP running, so we lost a lot of time. Other than that, they're all super close. It was great racing.
Same question for Two Swords Wild, or for 3 and 3
RacesWild.
and RacesWild. There we go. I was mixing the two teams together. Ashrin and 3 and 3. What do you got to say?
Yeah, no, it was
Another
a great. Yeah, it was a great seed. We both had a blast. I love doing Archipelago randomizers and getting into the Final Fantasy one. This was a great opportunity to race against some great guys who are doing a awesome thing, and just good to be here, man.
Uh, 3 and 3. Any comments?
Yeah. I had a good time too. I hope you run another one.
That is the point. This is for fun, all things considered. So, having a good time, enjoying the competition, and entertaining all of us, which is excellent and most appreciated. Forrest or ABC, any comments on your side? Final thoughts?
I encourage everybody who's watching to come join both the Final Fantasy Randomizer and LADXR communities. Both communities are very welcoming to new members, and obviously, we love seeing events like this, so join us. Come learn these games.
Well, speaking of which, if you want to find the Final Fantasy Randomizer, we actually just have FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. There you'll find the randomizer itself, as well as links to the wiki with all the interesting information, the tracker tools and such, as well as the link to our Discord, Final Fantasy Randomizer, where you'll find so many friendly people to join. Thank you, Hate13th, our restreamer in chat. Also, we have the Discord link for LADXR. If you want to get into the Zelda randomizer side of things, there you'll find, again, a very nice community of people who very much want more people enjoying the game that they love. Definitely go ahead and give a follow to all of our competitors today. Enjoy their Twitch streams when they actually play for fun. More eyes on the games is more entertainment for you. Meanwhile, I have been Thavian Hawk. With me in the booth today has been ABC with our trackers of a socket and our restreamer Hate. thank you all for enjoying this beautiful. Oh, pardon me, our trackers as well. Mr. Ibis, cannot forget. I hope you all have a very good evening and a happy holiday weekend for everyone in the United States.